Hey yo everybody, Haku here with my review of The Walking Dead Comics issue 157. And this one was pretty incredible to me. The start of the Whisperer War, I'm super hyped. We got to see a lot of content, and I mean a friggin' ton of content. It was sort of just a build-up chapter for the action to seemingly start next issue. I keep saying chapter, but I always keep saying chapter. But though it was build-up, it was incredibly strong build-up. It was just an incredibly strong issue overall. Just the sheer amount of content was amazing this month. But starting off talking about the beginning, we have the cover. And the cover for this one, it's like, it has, of course, Alpha and then like her silhouetted in the background with Alexandria and then Rick in the foreground. But none of what showed up had really anything to do at all with what happened, the contents of this issue. Like, the cover had really nothing to do with it whatsoever. So we see that Heath is running between outposts and telling everybody like what's going on, keeping everybody in communication with one another. So it's really cool to see Heath out and about doing important things for the communities. And we get to see Dwight, Magna, and Laura. Laura's the one whose name I always forget. I'm like, is it Loren? Is it Laura? I always forget it. But Laura seems kind of jealous of Magna and Dwight getting along so swimmingly. So that's pretty interesting. I'm really hoping Laura doesn't betray them, because if so, I'm going to really dislike her. But basically, they've just been sort of watching the watching the border, making sure nothing happens. The Whisperers don't come marching up with their army, and then they see Negan walking up alone, and the beard is canon now, comic canon. He had the beard, so they see Negan, and I thought that the entirety of Dwight and Negan's back and forth, the two of them meeting each other again after all this time, was absolutely brilliant. Every single line of Dwight and Negan talking to each other was completely perfect. And for those of you that don't know, they're both, like, I would say my 5 favorite comic characters are probably Jesus, Maggie, Rick, Negan, and Dwight. So they're 2 of my 5 favorite characters. I really love each of them, and seeing them interact was amazing, and seeing them talk about Lucille and how Dwight has Lucille now was just really great. So Beta finds Alpha's body without the head, of course, and he is obviously enraged. He's crying, which I thought was funny, because I'm like, for the Whisperers to be these raping, murdering, live among the walkers sort of people where they're like, oh, only strength matters, they cry more than anyone in the series. Like, we see the Whisperers crying all the time. But so Beta is pretty much, of course, vengeful and angry now, saying, I won't be the new Alpha, there will never be a new Alpha. We are going to go on a war of annihilation, essentially, and try to kill every member of our survivor communities. So that's what we're getting now with Big Bad Beta, until the new Big Bads come in, which I have a feeling the Whisperer War is going to end like a lot of people are predicting, with whoever's on the radio showing up, and this chapter, or this issue rather, makes me think that is a lot more likely. So from there we see Negan actually giving the head to Rick and Andrea, and talking about how, he's trying to build trust. He's been the model prisoner for years, but even in that cell, he couldn't prove that he was rehabilitated. He couldn't prove that he was trustworthy. So he went out and stopped Brandon from creating a conflict between Rick's group and the Whisperers. And he went and literally took the head of their leadership. And he's just, at least he says he's trying to prove that he's trustworthy, trying to prove he's rehabilitated, that he can pull his weight and be a part of the communities, that he thinks Rick's idea of letting people live and doing things a better way is like interesting, and he wants to know more about it. So we don't know if this is true. We don't know if Negan is still just playing them, but it's really interesting. And Rick offers him a deal of having his own outpost that he can live at alone, but he will have to be under constant supervision, and he will never be allowed to have a group. And under those under the circumstances that once he has that, he has to pull his weight, and he gets to live alone and stuff and get supplies in order for pulling his own weight at his own little outpost alone. But before he gets that outpost, he has to do something else first, and that is fight at the front lines under the supervision of Dwight. And then right after that, we have a Rick and Dwight conversation where Rick is like letting Dwight know stuff about the war and about Negan. And I really loved that conversation, but to me, Rick seems way, way too confident about their ability to just steamroll the Whispers. Like, he seems entirely too confident in this. So we get to see that Aaron is alive at the hilltop. Kind of anticlimactic, since it was a big deal that he was possibly dead, just to say, oh, he's alive, let's move on with our lives now. So Aaron is alive though, and we get to see him with Jesus and Alex, and a funny conversation there, a little bit of romantic tension between Aaron and Jesus. And from there we find out that Maggie is planning on sending almost all of the Hilltop's fighting force with Michonne and Jesus to go fight in the Whisperer War, and that she's only keeping a couple people back with her, like Dante, of course, and she's also going to keep back Carl and Lydia. They're going to stay at the hilltop throughout all this. And I think it was interesting how Lydia volunteered to be a part of this fighting force against the Whisperers, how she said, you know, my mom would seem weak if she didn't form a counterattack after you crossed into their land. So I think it was really interesting to see Lydia's point of view in all of this. I kind of wish we got to see it a little bit more detailed, because Lydia, it's like, it is her mother who she loves, even though she hates the Whisperers for what they did to her, and she doesn't have the best relationship with her mother, obviously. It's still sort of something where I would like to see a little bit more in her character of how this is all affecting her, and even if she's not all that torn, even if she's like, yeah, the Whisperers are shitty people, I'm going to help the survivors, they've done a lot more for me in the small time I've known them than the Whisperers in all the time that I was with them. But either way, I don't know. I feel like I'd like to see a little bit more of what Lydia thinks of all of this. And Carl as well. We haven't seen very much of Carl at all in quite a while, and everything we've seen of Carl has just been hanging out at the hilltop, or the stuff with him and Lydia being together. We haven't really seen a lot of just Carl character lately. But I do feel like we'll see a lot in this Whisperer War because of something, again, coming up later in the issue. So we see them going over the plans and how Dwight is going to be leading the main force of the army to secure the border, and Magna's going to have a squad off to the side within earshot, I think he said, and that Gabriel is going to be, I'm not sure, maybe 30 minutes away? I think it may have been 30 minutes away at a water tower where he can sound sirens if he needs to, and he'll be the lookout for when the herd arrives. We also then cut to the kingdom, and there's this dude, Zachary, what a bitch, saying, you know, all the stuff that the union of our communities did to get out from under Negan's thumb. Remember all we did to survive these 2 years? Yeah, screw that. We don't want any part of this. Why should we help them? Why should we fight? Which is just annoying and stupid. I feel like it's going to be another Gregory during All Out War kind of situation of annoying. And the dude William, who is seemingly the interim king now that Ezekiel has recently died, William is like, you know, Rick was Ezekiel's friend. We are part of this union of communities. We need to pull our weight. We need to send our men. This involves us too. We need to stop the Whisperers. So I'm liking this William guy, and it seems like he's going to be an important character from this, especially if he's going to be the interim leader of the kingdom right now. Now, a part of this I hated. I hated dumbass Eugene. For somebody supposedly so smart, he is so freaking stupid. Dumbass Eugene telling Stephanie where they are. And I know that Ohio, probably not true. I don't believe Ohio. I believe that somewhere near the end of this Whisperer War, we are going to have this group on the radio come steamrolling in and start maybe attacking both sides. Maybe right after we defeat the Whisperers, we get this other group that comes in and tries to subjugate us, hell if I know, but this cannot lead to good things. I see absolutely no good things coming from him telling them their position. So Rick and Andrea discuss the war and Negan. I thought it was a nice conversation to see. Just see what Rick thinks about not being on the front lines, not actually fighting here. And we find out, Andrea talking about, if you think you're doing the right thing with Negan, I trust you. And same thing with, the talk about trust and how they need to try to trust that they're doing the right thing. I really like that. And we find out that Rick is about to go give a speech to the Alexandrians. And then we see our actual army forming up at the border, and then we see Gabriel taking up his post, and he sees the massive herd coming towards them through the streets. And then we just end it with this amazing page, a page I absolutely love, with these 16 different characters. I guess they're going to be our 16 main characters for the comic series at this moment. And the first thing at the end, right before they got into the letter hacks, I love that, I think it may have been Kirkman said that these 16 characters, their lives are going to be forever changed if they're still alive after this Whisperer War. So we know that the Whisperer War is going to have a profound effect on each of those 16. So we know something's got to happen with the people at the hilltop. We had Rick and Andrea, something's got to happen with them. We have William at the Kingdom. So it's going to be really, really cool to see what happens with each of those 16 characters and see from right now, this chapter, from those 16 panels, from what we saw of them, what it'll be like at the end of the Whisperer War. And hell, I'd even love it if, like, at the very end of the Whisperer War, there was another page like that with just 16 panels showing the fate after the Whisperer War of each of those 16. That would be an incredible page, an incredible way to end it. If they did a throwback and did things like that, I think it'd be awesome. And another thing that they talked about was that this is being drawn in a 16-panel grid, and I'm loving it. They did it that way so that they can fit more onto each page and sort of pace themselves better so that they can stuff more into each issue so that they can get through all of this story in 6 issues, which I think is a brilliant idea. I love the way it looks. I thought that just the visual style this week, or this month rather, the visual style to me was a lot more appealing. I absolutely loved that last page, of course, where they did all 16 panels separately. Thought that was amazing. As well as I think it's great that they're going to be able to use that to fit so much content into each issue. But as far as this issue goes, like I said, I thought it was really amazing. I thought everything they did here was just good ideas writing-wise. I don't like the Eugene stuff, but again, it's good writing-wise. It's just, I'm like, how can Eugene be so stupid? Like, it's more of a personal, like, character thing, So yeah, it's not bad. It's just I'm mad at Eugene. This is just overall good. It was mostly build-up, but I think as far as build-up goes, this was pretty damn incredible. This is incredible build-up. And it was build-up that it had a specific reason here. Like, we kind of needed this build-up. We needed to set those 16 pieces into place and have that ready so that over the next 5 issues we can go through this storyline, like moving those pieces around. So I think that was just, it was a wonderful chapter. I really, really enjoyed it. But there weren't any massive surprises, no massive incredible iconic moments, I don't think. At least in my opinion, I don't think anything was like huge. So overall, I'm going to give it an 8.5. 8.5 incoming herds out of 10. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. Like if you did like this video, and comment down there and tell me what you thought of this month's issue and what you thought of my thoughts on it. I really liked this one. Also, subscribe for more Walking Dead, both TV show and comics, and like Monmusu, One Piece, Tower of God, a bunch of other stuff. All of that and more, and follow on Twitter if you want, because I'll try to keep you updated there on stuff. And that's it. So thank you for watching one last time, and I'll see you all next time.